This week's case study included a specification for the Oceanside Community Center Ship Simulator Training Lab. I'd like to briefly go over the contents of the specification with you. Looking at the table of contents, we see that the project is broken down into 4 divisions. Division 0 is contract requirements, 1 is general requirements, 12 is furniture, and 17 is telecommunications. The general contract requirements and the general requirements are part of the scope of the project, that they're referred to as the front end or boilerplate, and discuss the terms and conditions of delivering the work rather than the actual product itself, which is scoped out in Division 12 and Division 17. As we go through the document, we start with an invitation to bid, an advertisement that goes to the newspaper to solicit bids from bidders. We have instruction to bidders, which talks about the requirements for the bid itself. Some of these are like the bid envelope. What kind of envelope is to be used? What's the schedule? When is the bid due? An affidavit that must be signed to be included with the bid. And the actual form of proposal of the bid. What's required in the bid, how many copies, so forth. We have some bid forms. On this particular project, we have 4 bid forms because the owner wants some detailed information on what they are purchasing, and they may want to purchase additional items, and if they have detailed pricing, they could order additional items without having to negotiate the price. We have prevailing wages in the state of Connecticut. Any federally or state funded project, the state dictates what the minimum wages will be. There's also some conditions that go with the minimum wages, what paid holidays, for instance, and how much vacation time people get. Prevailing wage certificates are some forms that need to be filled out each week by the project manager, certifying that the workers on the project have been paid prevailing wages. We have the general conditions for the contract. This is the actual contract document that's signed by the parties. Supplementary conditions are conditions that add to the general conditions, also part of the contract. We have the summary of work, which we discussed in the presentation. And you can see item E delineates what the overall scope of the project is. Go on to a statement of code compliance, another state requirement. Price and payment procedures. What does the contractor have to do to get paid, and how will the owner pay them? Administrative requirements. Paperwork that's required throughout the course of the project. One of them is a schedule, for instance. The project manager must submit a schedule. We go on to references. These are national standards that are used to control the quality of the work. Execution and closeout requirements. Again, some administrative duties. You can see one of the administrative duties is the project manager has to submit a written daily report on the SharePoint server. We have a general furniture specification. So these are the specifications that I want you to concentrate on this week. We don't really want to look too much at the general conditions this week. For our exercise, our WBS, for our discussion board question, we want to focus on the 12,500, 17,500, 17,550, and 17,700 specifications. And you can see the general furniture specification. I'll briefly go over it. It talks about, in general, the contractor will provide and install in locations shown on the plans furniture listed on the bid form. So we have to come back to the bid form to see the quantity required and what exactly is required. And then we also have a product specification which lists the particular equipment that they're looking for. Now if we go down to software and interfaces, where I gave my example, it says the scope of work is a ship simulator software and console. And then if I go farther into the document, I see that I have some other requirements. I have some testing and training, and that's why I added those items to the WBS. I also have maybe some other deliverables in this document. So these documents aren't too long. let's briefly go through the documents and see if we could come up with some additional tasks for our WBS. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I look forward to conducting this exercise with you.